What's up, you cool cats and kittens? Today we're going to be looking at Pixton, an app to help us create an online cartoon strip that we'll be using for a project in class. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and type in Pixton into Google and pull up the first result, and then go on the home page and click sign up. So we want to sign up for a student account, and it'll give us a couple questions. Go ahead and click no on the link, add in a birthday. We'll go ahead and put that in real quick. So once that's all in, we'll go ahead and choose one of these three options. I'll go ahead and sign up with Google for this example. And you can click a Google account and it should pull you right in. So what we want to do is we want to make our comic, and we want to click where it says make comic under start here. Go ahead and enter in a name for whatever you decide to name your comic strip. I'll go ahead and put practice right there. So there's a lot of tools available to you on the Pixton app, on the Pixton website, that will help you to get started in the creation of your project. And the first of those is to select a background. Now each of the panels you make can have a unique background, or you can make them all the same. So I'll go ahead and add that one right there just for demonstration. And the next thing we want to do is go ahead and add a character. So I'll go ahead and add a character to a slide. And you can see he is put into the slide. Now for this background, some of the backgrounds do have unique animations on them to where the characters will, like in this case, be laying on a bed. And we can actually change that. So if we want to change the action of a character within a slide, we'll go ahead to the far right tab, labeled action, and we'll go ahead and adjust it. So like for this background, there's only a couple different laying down animations. If I want to show you something different, we can select a background such as this, where the character is up and standing. So if we go back to actions, we can see that there are plenty of actions here to express whatever is going on in the story within the cartoon strip. So for example, I'll go ahead and change his action to right there. And the next thing we can add is words, either in the form of a caption at the top of the slide, or also text bubbles for each character. So let's go ahead and add a caption. So we can say, this is Bob. We'll go ahead and call this guy Bob. So here's Bob, and you see at the top, it shows this is Bob at the top. Now you can do that to add any sort of text you want as a form of narration, as to set up the scene, set up the action, or you could also add words for each character. So if I want to say, hi, my name is Bob, I can go ahead and do that. And the text bubble will show up right above him, and you'll see that the speech is coming from him. Now, the next thing we can do is also add another character to the slide. So if we want to add a second character, let's say we add this fellow right here. He'll also show up in the animation. And since these two characters are pretty close together right now, what we can do to change their orientation around is to go ahead and use your mouse, go ahead and click and drag them to anywhere in the scene, and that'll change their positioning for that slide. Now if I want this guy to be facing left instead of right, so he's facing Bob, we can go ahead and go over here, go to actions, click on his icon, change actions, and we can click on this little dot right here on the right. And if you click that, you should see that his orientation has changed to where he's now facing Bob. So you can do that to set up any sort of dialogue or action within your panel. And let's go ahead and add a second panel. So again, with the second panel, you can change the backgrounds, keep the background. It doesn't necessarily matter what you do, as long as it follows the flow of your story. So same thing, these two characters are already in the panel. Let's say I want to get rid of Bob for this panel. I simply go to characters, go to edit character if I want to change how Bob looks, but to remove him from the slide, you'll click on this little X by his icon, and Bob will be removed from this slide, but it won't affect the other slides the same way. It'll just be removed from one that you were currently selected on. And those are the most basic things to be concerned about with this. You know, you can change the faces, the expressions, the outfits of the characters, but that's not a huge issue within this assignment. Well, I hope that helped you out with your starting on the Pixton app. And that is all.